Have you ever wondered how some people seem unbreakable, even in the face of deep loss? What if there's an ancient secret to remaining resilient when life throws its hardest blows? In this video, I'll reveal the quiet strength that Stoics have mastered, unlocking the path to unshakable inner calm no matter what you face. The Stoic Secret to Handling Loss Gracefully, Stoic Inner Resilience, compiled and published by Stoic Power. Lesson 1. Accept the weight of reality. Imagine standing at dawn on the edge of a silent forest where the shadows are long and the air is thick with quiet expectation. You sense the truth of things pressing around you. The chill in the air, a reminder that life does not ask for permission before it changes course. Loss, like an unexpected winter, can sweep through without warning, shaking the branches of our certainty. In these moments, the weight of reality settles on our shoulders, a silent stone pressing into the earth, rooting us in places we never intended to linger. Our hearts rebel against this weight, yearning to deny it or escape from its unyielding grip. And yet, the deeper struggle for many is not the loss itself, but our resistance to openly meeting what arrives at our doorstep. There arises an inner conflict that is almost universal. The mind stands at the crossroads, plagued by questions and uncertainty. Why did this happen to me? Why now? We feel an immediate clench inside, an urge to push away the discomfort or to distract ourselves with noise and busyness. We may even warn ourselves not to show weakness, afraid that admitting pain will cede control or open us up to more suffering. It's a battle between the proud archer who wants to hold the bow taut, aiming for targets that have vanished in the mist, and the part of us that longs to simply uncurl, to release what clatters in the hollow of our hearts. In the context of mastering our emotions, this moment is both testing ground and teacher, revealing how often we attempt to control things far beyond our reach, instead of calmly meeting the storm where it lives. Anyone who has endured loss, be it the end of a relationship, the passing of someone dear, or the dissolution of an old dream, will recognize how natural it is to turn away from pain, to armor oneself with denial or anger. In our striving to be emotionally invincible, we often inadvertently trap ourselves in a cycle of feeling defeated by loss. We resist the truth, willing ourselves to remain unaffected, but the energy we spend in resistance only deepens our suffering. It creates a gulf between what is and what we wish could be, and in that gap, uncertainty and anxiety grow tall as unscalable walls. Stifling your true feelings can make you feel like a sailor lost at sea, tossing useless anchors into waters that offer no purchase. You may find yourself wondering if the strength of a Stoic means to not feel at all, or if mastery of self requires armored indifference. The transformative solution lies not in fleeing from the weight, but in accepting it. Just as a rooted tree absorbs the nourishment of deep rains rather than shrinking from the storm. Acceptance of reality is not defeat, it is the first act of true power. To practice this is to look at loss directly, acknowledge its presence, name its impact, and say, quietly but firmly, "You may be here, but you do not define my entire landscape." The core idea behind this step is that each blow from fate is not an erasure of your worth, but an invitation to discover the undiminished strength burning quietly within you, the ember that remains lit even after the fiercest storm. Accepting what is real takes courage. The courage to allow sadness, regret, or fear a moment at your table without letting them dictate the course of your days. By welcoming reality as it stands rather than how you wish it to be, you reclaim the energy wasted on denial and use it instead to steady yourself for the next step. The benefits of this approach are vast. It erodes the desperate clinging to what was, smooths the jagged edges of resistance, and opens space for inner calm to root itself. Like a silent Stoic archer who sits in the clearing, patient and alert, waiting for the next true target to appear, you learn to direct your focus toward what can actually be shaped. Acceptance is not a capitulation, but the surest foundation for emotional mastery, resilience, and quiet power. The wisdom in this act is both ancient and alive, echoing the guidance of those who have endured and grown wise through their storms. When you choose acceptance, you become undefeatable in a new way, not immune to sorrow, but equipped to turn even the hardest realities into stepping stones for a deeper, steadier self. In this practice of recognizing and gently receiving the weight of your reality, you will discover the first true step toward controlling your emotions rather than letting them control you. To train your mind within the quiet embrace of acceptance is to unlock the kind of resilience that is at once fierce and serene, bathed in the silent light of self-mastery. Begin today by quietly observing your feelings when something difficult happens, allowing yourself to acknowledge and accept them without judgment. Journal your reactions and notice any resistance. Over time, you will find increased calm and clarity, empowering your growth and resilience. Next, we'll explore how to separate pain from meaning to bring even more clarity to your journey. If you're finding value here, remember to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your story matters. Lesson 2. Separate pain from meaning. Imagine a solitary lantern glowing against the darkness, its light both fragile and enduring as it stands against the vast cold void. So it is when pain enters our lives. Sudden grief, disappointment, rejection, or failure, casting long shadows that appear larger than life. The world is quick to blur pain and meaning into a single haze, convincing us that suffering is not just something we endure, but a statement about our very value, purpose, or fate. In the quiet moments after loss, the mind often becomes a restless ship, tossed by waves of old memories and anxious forecasts, desperate to make sense of the storm. The internal struggle comes not only from pain itself, but from our deeply human desire to extract some meaning, some explanation for suffering that feels so indiscriminate and raw. This inner conflict is as old as humanity. When hardship hits, we tend to transform every sting into a sweeping story about who we are. We weigh our worth against the unforgiving measure of what went wrong. If a partner leaves, our hearts mutter that we must be unlovable. If a dream collapses, our inner critic accuses us of incompetence. Like archers shooting arrows into the thickening fog, we try to hit invisible targets. Answers, reasons, reassurance that it all amounts to something. Yet every missed mark increases our frustration and deepens a sense of helplessness. The result: pain multiplies as we adopt it as our identity, and meaning becomes a judge, not a companion. Many people long to unshackle themselves from this weight, yet find it difficult to separate their bruises from the story they unwittingly write about their lives. Emotional mastery falters as distress becomes life's headline. We might ask ourselves, does this pain prove I deserve less? Is my suffering a sign of failure or weakness? It is natural to search for explanations. We crave cohesion, patterns, and reasons. But often the meanings we assign are not soothing portents from the universe, but projections of our fear, insecurity, and shame. This tendency traps us in cycles of doubt and erodes our confidence to act. The sharper our pain, the more likely we are to etch it onto the tablets of our identity. Without realizing it, we become trapped in the stories we create. Yet the wisdom of Stoicism offers a freeing alternative, a silent fire that refuses to let pain dictate meaning. Instead, the practice is to hold suffering gently but firmly, like a seasoned sailor holding a trembling compass, and decide what it truly signifies. The solution is simple, but revolutionary. Experience your pain fully, but do not leap to assign it a negative story about your worth or future. Just as a storm at sea does not signal the end of the voyage, pain does not have to foretell endless loss or self-doubt. The core idea here is to build enough inner distance so you can observe your hardship with a clear heart, to realize that while pain is inevitable at times, the meanings we attach are optional and within our control. This approach transforms the experience of suffering. When you learn to separate pain from the stories you tell, you create space to breathe, to regroup, to discover serenity even when the world seems to tilt sideways. In this sanctuary, emotions no longer overwhelm or dictate your actions. Instead, you find a place of deep clarity where the ancient wisdom comes alive as practical strength. To master this is to become the silent Stoic, present with tears, yet quietly confident that truth lies deeper than any single hardship. Each moment of conscious separation, of feeling, noticing, But refusing to accept meaning without intention is a powerful act of unlocking your potential. In this way, you transform pain from a tyrant into a tutor, and the seas of emotion become pathways, not prisons. Pause whenever pain arises, recognize it for what it is, then consciously separate your feelings from the stories you tell yourself. You'll notice a new freedom and a strong sense of self returning. Practice this daily. In our next lesson, we'll anchor this clarity with daily order. Subscribe, like, and share your reflections in the comments below. Lesson 3. Anchor yourself in daily order. Picture a lighthouse standing firm against the savage might of a midnight storm, its foundation unshaken by surging tides or fierce winds. Beneath the chaos of the skies and the unpredictable forces of the sea, that solitary pillar burns steadily, offering a beacon of reliability and hope for every wandering vessel. Like the ship seeking refuge in the steady circle of its light, the human spirit too seeks anchors when buffeted by the turbulent waves of emotion and circumstance. When pain, anxiety, or loss churn within us, it's easy for life to feel directionless, as if we are caught in a wild, uncharted sea drifting endlessly. How do we ground ourselves, recenter our resolve, and claim agency over our direction once more? Within each of us lies an inner conflict. The competing forces of the self that wants predictability, stability, and meaning, and the part that is forever at risk of being pulled under by chaos and the unknown. You might find yourself promising to reclaim your focus, regain composure, only to drift again into old patterns, oversleeping, mindlessly scrolling, numbing yourself with distractions, letting the hours and days slip mutely by. You long for consistent order and self-control, yet the pull of disorder is constant and often subtle, like the whisper of an undertow below still waters. This is the state in which many quietly suffer, secretly desperate to rediscover discipline and clarity, but feeling almost powerless every time life reminds us of its unpredictability. It is especially during times of emotional upheaval, after loss or hardship, that this longing intensifies, as if your ragged sails are at the mercy of gusting winds. Every intention ripped away by feelings that seem too powerful to withstand. This struggle is universal. When life is turbulent, people often experience their sense of order unraveling, a gradual erosion of morning routines, a haze descending upon familiar rituals, a loss of discipline in eating, sleeping, and work. Self-care erodes, organization slips, and what once anchored you seems feeble in the face of emotional storms. The pain isn't just the external loss, it's the lingering experience of feeling lost inside, adrift in uncertainty and unable to breaststroke your way out of the current. People blame themselves for a lack of discipline or grit, imaging that other, more together souls possess a flawlessness that eludes them. But the truth is, the loss of order is not a flaw in character, but an invitation to cultivate it anew. Stoic wisdom encourages us not to berate our undisciplined moments, but to recognize within chaos the spark of possibility. In the aftermath of life's tempests, it is orderly habits, no matter how small, that reawaken our strength and balance. The ancient Stoics knew this intimately. Rather than seeking control over fate, they sought to master themselves, and their path to self-mastery began with building order into daily life. The transformative solution lies in the steady creation of small daily routines that serve as anchors, tasks so modest that they seemed insignificant, but collectively form the bedrock of your resilience. Commit to making your bed each morning, write a line in your journal, take a quiet walk at the same hour, or simply organize a small corner of your sanctuary. These are not grand acts. They are lighthouses. Quiet, unwavering, simple. The power of anchoring yourself in daily order is that with each act of routine, no matter how elementary, you send a signal to yourself and the world. I can reclaim a measure of control. I can set the direction of my ship. Even when storms rage, you possess within your reach actions that no force outside yourself can dictate. The core idea is that daily order, maintained in the smallest gestures, gradually trains your mind and emotions to follow your will rather than old chaos. The benefits are profound. Each habit practiced with intention becomes a reminder of stability in uncertain times, knitting the broken pieces of self-discipline back together. You'll find a renewed focus, growing resilience, and a deepening confidence in your ability to meet whatever each day unfolds. Rather than being swept under by circumstances or drowning in overwhelm, your ordered habits keep you afloat and moving purposefully. Over time, daily order forges the character of an undefeatable Stoic, a disciplined soul who becomes magnetic to others and quietly unshakable within. This is not mere ritual. It is a form of self-respect, emotional mastery, and a path to the freedom that comes from a mind trained to act, not just react. The wisdom is ancient, but every morning offers a fresh invitation. Lay your anchor, build your lighthouse, and unlock the calm within chaos. Start with one small, intentional routine tomorrow. Set your alarm, tidy your space, or enjoy a mindful cup of tea. Notice how small acts foster clarity and confidence, quietly restoring your power. Keep building these habits. Soon, surrendering gracefully to what you can't control will feel natural. Stay tuned for our next lesson and share your reflections below. Lesson 4. Find freedom in surrender. In the quiet before dawn, as the world lingers between darkness and light, picture a river weaving steadily toward the ocean. It touches everything in its path, rocks, branches, moss, and does not resist the bends or sudden falls along its journey. The river knows its destiny is not to conquer every obstacle or force the landscape to yield, but to surrender to its path and find power in flowing, not fighting. In much the same way, we are taught from a young age that true strength means never backing down, always fighting circumstances and pushing against whatever feels wrong in our lives. Yet, in moments of deep pain or uncertainty, we begin to question whether this relentless control is where true resilience really lives. This sparks an inner battle. When we are faced with loss or circumstances beyond our power, the first reflex is to grab tighter. Our thoughts racing for solutions, our bodies tightening with resistance. This frantic search for control can leave us exhausted, tense, and even more overwhelmed. Many strive to master their emotions by wrestling them into submission, believing that enduring everything through willpower alone is a sign of courage. But just as the archer tires from continually drawing his bow against the wind, we too grow weary from the effort of constantly trying to reshape reality into a form that pleases us. There exists a tension, the longing to feel powerful and ordered, and the pressing truth that much of life unfolds beyond our ability to direct. This conflict breeds suffering. Anyone who has wrestled loss, a relationship that slipped away, an opportunity that evaporated, a plan upended by fate, knows that clinging to control can deepen the pain. Instead of calming the storm, we inadvertently churn the waters with our own expectations and anxieties, feeding our fears as we attempt to dictate outcomes that refuse to answer our demands. We fear surrender may signal weakness or failure, that letting go means giving up on happiness or succumbing to adversity. The result is a gnawing restlessness, an internal debate. Is it safer to hold fast, or is there a liberation found only in letting go? Here, ancient Stoic wisdom shines like starlight on dark waters. It tells us that true inner strength is revealed not in our ability to bend the world, but in our willingness to surrender gracefully to what cannot be changed. The radical, transformative solution is an invitation. Instead of fighting with reality, relax your grip and open yourself to acceptance. Surrender, in the Stoic sense, means ceasing the needless struggle against the uncontrollable. It is a courageous act of discernment that separates what is yours to change from what belongs to fate. Think of surrender as the still fire burning in the disciplined soul. Silent, deep, enduring. When you step into this mindset, you no longer waste energy denying the inevitable. Instead, you redirect your focus to where your true power lies, your responses, your attitude, your interpretation of events. Surrender calms the inner tempest, protects you from emotional exhaustion, and sets your mind free to see creative solutions or new opportunities even in hardship. Far from defeat, surrender generates impact through composure, makes you attractive through quiet assurance, and unlocks a calm that cannot be shaken by outside forces. Taking on this ancient yet living wisdom trains your mind, helping you become not only undefeatable in spirit, but also more connected, sensitive, and clear-eyed about your journey. The real strength is learning when to let go. when to release the desire to govern all outcomes, and when to trust that mastering yourself, your focus, perspective, and actions will shape a destiny more resilient and true than any forced by sheer will. Surrender is a path to freedom, a leap into the silent power of acceptance that brings peace amid uncertainty, a steadying flow through even the harshest landscapes. When life delivers what you cannot change, pause, breathe deeply, and silently note what is outside your control. Release the urge to force outcomes and center yourself in what remains. Over time, you'll feel lighter and braver. In our next lesson, we'll explore how grief can build character. Leave a comment, subscribe, and join the conversation below. Lesson 5. Strengthen character through grief. There are mornings when the world feels heavy, as though a silent curtain of mist has settled over the landscape, muting the colors and sounds you used to know. Grief is like that mist, a pervasive hush that can blanket even the brightest heart, stalling our steps and veiling our sense of purpose. In these moments, emotion presses in from all sides, asking questions without language and demanding answers we cannot always provide. It may feel as though a piece of ourselves has gone missing in the half-light, leaving behind a longing for clarity and comfort that seemed just out of reach. Yet within this quiet sorrow, there lives a subtle invitation to grow deeper, truer, and stronger than we were before. This ache brings with it an inner conflict that is unmistakable. We feel the clash between wanting to turn away from the pain, to close off the heart and shield it from further injury, and the profound urge to heal and move forward. The disciplined mind may instruct you to be composed and unaffected, but the spirit aches to cry out or retreat. At times, you may resent your own vulnerability, believing it to be a sign of weakness, or perhaps you feel guilt for wishing to move on before the wounds have healed. It's not uncommon for grief to awaken doubts about your strength, sometimes making you imagine that mastering your emotions requires closing yourself off from them. Like an archer whose bow trembles in the rain, you hold the urge to take aim at distant hopes while wondering if you might be too weary to draw the string. These struggles are widely shared. Many people find themselves stuck, unable to move beyond sadness or regret, haunted by memories and missed opportunities. Grief can drain motivation, obscure vision, and sap the will to rise again, especially if we judge ourselves for not getting over it quickly enough. Friends may offer platitudes, hoping to hurry the process along, but healing remains slow and personal. The pain becomes doubled by this expectation to bounce back, leading to shame and a sense of defeat. In those still private hours, you might ask, will this sorrow ever transform into something strong and useful, or will it always hold me back? The pressure to be unaffected can shut out the possibility of growth, blunting emotional mastery instead of sharpening it. Yet hardship, when met with intentional awareness, can be the furnace that forges an undefeatable character. Every challenge is an invitation not to collapse, but to expand. The ancient Stoic truth that adversity is not there to break you, but to unlock your deeper strengths. The solution then is to turn toward your grief with gentleness and consent, acknowledging its presence and allowing it to be your silent teacher. Instead of resisting or numbing your feelings, sit quietly with them, noticing their shape and their lessons. Imagine your sorrow as a ship breaking through heavy fog. The journey is slow, and visibility is limited, but every mile moved forward exposes you to new perspectives and hidden sources of strength. The core idea is transformative. Grief need not be your downfall. Instead, accepting and learning from it can mold you into someone wiser, braver, and more attractive in spirit. Each experience of loss becomes a stepping stone for discipline, leading to a richer, steadier self. By welcoming sorrow as a mentor, you unlock the still fire at your core, one that draws, rather than repels, new possibilities and compassion from those around you. Emotional control does not mean appearing invulnerable. It means letting heartfelt pain guide you toward depth and maturity. This process, ancient in wisdom, yet urgently alive, prepares you not to be untouched by sorrow, but to be shaped by it into someone more powerful and true, training your mind for growth well beyond grief's shadow. Set aside quiet time this week to sit with your grief. Write your feelings, breathe deeply, and let each emotion guide you toward growth. As you do, your resilience and wisdom deepen, turning pain into quiet authority. Our next lesson explores how to gain perspective from the universe itself. Join the discussion below and let your journey inspire others. Lesson 6. Reconnect to universal perspective. Imagine lying beneath a clear night sky, the stars quietly burning above like an ancient infinite council, watching over all of time and human striving. There's a hush to the darkness, a sense of breathless wonder at the vast scale that surrounds you. And for a moment, your personal burdens become lighter. Each small trouble shrinks to a pebble by the wide river of existence flowing endlessly around you. Yet, while this cosmic beauty moves us, it contrasts sharply with the tightness we often cling to in our hearts. When we feel loss or hardship, it is natural to withdraw our gaze inward, to become lost in the noisy confines of our own thoughts. Our worries become the entire universe, our grief, the center of gravity around which everything seems to spin. This creates an ever-present conflict between the soul's hidden longing for meaning and the unyielding narrowness of daily suffering. Our minds oscillate between the big questions, why me, why now, an obsessive analysis of every adverse detail, fueling anxiety and hopelessness. As responsibilities at work, the sting of relationships, or personal failure weigh heavily, the world seems to shrink tighter, drawing curtains across all other possibilities. Each small wound demands attention. Each missed opportunity seems, for a while, as if it defines our entire identity. The vision that once may have guided you with hope is crowded out by the close-up lenses of disappointment and fear, and mastery over emotion grows elusive. You may feel unseen by the world or worried that the universe itself no longer hears you. This narrowing of view is profoundly common and quietly destructive. Shrinking our world to fit only what hurts leaves us isolated in a dense fog of emotion, our thoughts looping in ever smaller circles without solution or relief. When perspective narrows in this way, every difficulty looms as a threat, and each setback enters the story of self-doubt. If you've lost sight of your broader context, it becomes easy to see yourself as destined for defeat rather than built for resilience and renewal. Anxiety builds when the outer world fades and the only thing left visible is your hurt. The loss of the universal perspective limits emotional control, saps your confidence, and quietly closes the door to possibilities that would inspire growth and healing. Stoic insight transforms this suffocating solitude with a single, liberating gesture. Step back, look up, reconnect your story with the vast, unfolding narrative of the cosmos itself. The solution here is to practice regularly widening your view, to see not only the difficulties placed before you, but their smallness against the grand canvas of time, humanity, and the universe. Intentionally recalling your place in the wider story trains your mind to rise above momentary difficulties, like a silent archer who, instead of firing at every nearby shadow, draws the bow with a steady hand and aims toward the horizon. When you balance the particulars of your life with the sweep of history and the majesty of the universe, you unlock a calm detachment and a quiet strength that cannot be toppled by the troubles of a single day. The core idea is to gently shift yourself, daily, out of the center of drama and into a greater field of vision. This perspective doesn't erase pain, but recasts it, making space for acceptance, understanding, and hope. By aligning your focus with something enduring and immense, you become less burdened by the storms you pass through and more attuned to all the possibilities still ahead. Tapping this ancient wisdom restores emotional equilibrium, makes you quietly magnetic, and builds a spirit that is truly undefeatable and free. One that is guided not just by the passing clouds, but by the stars themselves. Step outside each day and marvel at the sky, reminding yourself of life's vastness. Pause when stressed, breathe deeply, and imagine where your challenge fits in the wide sweep of time. This grants resilience, calm, and hope. Next, we'll rise together in quiet power. Let your insights flow in the comments and stay with us for the journey forward. Lesson 7. Rise renewed with quiet power. At dawn, ancient forests gleam with hidden light. Dewdrops glistening on leaves as the sun crests the horizon, transforming cold shadows into gold. The world seems to exhale, emerging gently from darkness, and every branch, every silent root holds memories of storms endured through the long night. There is quiet strength in the slow, steadfast return of day, a reminder that renewal rarely arrives with fanfare, but instead with subtle shifts and silent courage. After hardship, the soul too can rise transformed, carrying not just scars, but a pale new light, evidence that we are more than what we have lost. This awakening brings an inner conflict most of us know well. After seasons of struggle or profound loss, a part of us wants to leap instantly into our former vitality, eager to reclaim our sense of possibility. Yet another, more wounded part hesitates. There's uncertainty about when or how to move forward, doubts about whether genuine renewal, steady self-confidence, untouchable calm, unhurried certainty will ever return. Many people mistake resilience for dramatic resurgence, feeling weak if improvement creeps forward invisibly, almost without notice. Inside we wonder, is my worth measured only by how quickly I recover? Am I doomed to always carry the heavy memory of past sorrow, my power lost for good? Life's challenges further amplify these fears. As responsibilities mount and new demands emerge, the memory of pain threatens to color every choice we make. Even as we wish to let the past recede, there is something hesitant in our hands and hearts. The old strategies that gave confidence, busy schedules, speedy distractions, perfectionism, may not work anymore. Disappointment seeps into hope's roots. Sometimes it even feels as though every gain is fragile. Emotions flicker between anticipation and fear. We crave the security that emotional control brings, but worry that life's uncertainties will again sweep away the fragile gains we've made. In these muddled in-between states, mastery of emotion can seem like an unreachable ideal, and the silent stoic within us risks being silenced by self-doubt or expectation. Here the ancient wisdom speaks softly but with commanding force. True renewal is not the loud recoil of the warrior bouncing back onto the battlefield, but the gentle, persistent flame that refuses to go out no matter how many winds assail it. To rise renewed is to honor the resilience that already exists in you, even if it appears only as a flickering ember in the aftermath of loss. The transformative solution is subtle and infinitely powerful. Practice the art of rising quietly, taking each small step not as a return to your old self, but as steady ascent towards someone deeper and more luminous than before. This is the discipline of becoming new, not by denying what hurt you, but by weaving it into your growth, your patience, and your calm. This approach gathers together all the strengths you've unearthed through hardship. It does not throw away pain, but refines it into wisdom and presence. The real secret is that emotional mastery is built quietly. One mindful breath, one brave decision, one day at a time. By rising gently, not hurriedly, you unlock a charisma that attracts others, born of quiet power and unshakable inner poise. There's no need for dramatic declarations or bravado. Your renewal radiates outwards in small, persistent ways, just as the first rays of sun gently transform the landscape. It is this silent strength that is truly undefeatable. With each step, you become not merely someone who endures, but someone who influences and inspires, possessing within you the still fire of acceptance, growth, and hope. This journey is both ancient in its wisdom and alive in its potential. A quiet revolution turning every loss into real, lasting power. Each morning, set a quiet intention to move forward, no matter how small the step. Remember, your progress is built through consistency and mindful self-compassion. Celebrate subtle improvements and welcome each day as a new beginning. You'll find your inner strength and confidence quietly multiplying, guiding you toward a life marked by calm mastery and silent, radiant power. You have now discovered the timeless stoic path to resilience, moving from acceptance and clarity to daily order, surrender, character, universal perspective, and finally, a quiet, renewed strength. Thank you for joining this journey. If you found value, please like, comment, and subscribe to support and grow our Stoic community.